Hello and welcome to HW News. From the last few days, the call for boycotting France is getting bigger. It dominated the trends on social media platforms like Twitter. But even offline, that is on the ground in some countries, the call is getting bigger and bigger in some countries. What prompted the boycott call? What does French President Emmanuel Macron has to do with this? We will get into all the details. But first, watch these videos. One video is from Bhindi Bazaar where members of Raza Academy are protesting against French President Emmanuel Macron. They not only called for the boycott of French goods but also demanded that Muslim countries around the world should unite and issue a fatwa against him. There was another protest where the posters with Macron's photo were pasted on the streets and vehicles were passing over it. People were walking on it. In Bhopal, there was another protest where thousands of people from Muslim community took part. Even Darul Uloom Devband has expressed outrage against French President Emmanuel Macron. Now, to understand this anger against Emmanuel Macron, the French president, we have to start from 2015. The origin of the entire controversy is a magazine called Charlie Hebdo, which is a French satirical weekly. It features cartoons, reports, polemics and jokes. It is known for its non-conformist tone and strong anti-religious stance. It has a history of publishing articles that mock Catholicism, Judaism, Islam and various other groups as local and world news unfolds. It also has history of upsetting people with its cartoons. In 2006, Islamic organizations under French hate speech laws unsuccessfully sued over the newspaper's republication of a cartoon on Prophet Muhammad. In 2011, once again the publication ran a cartoon mocking Sharia law and titled the cartoon as Sharia Hebdo. After this, the newspaper's office was firebombed and its website was hacked. In 2012, they again published a series of satirical cartoons on the Prophet. It prompted the French government to close embassies, consulates, cultural centers and international schools in about 20 Muslim countries. Riot police surrounded the newspaper's offices to protect it against possible attacks. However, the morning of January 7, 2015 came as a black day not only for the publication but also for the country and the idea of free speech all around the world. Charlie Hebdo staff had gathered for a weekly editorial meeting that day. They had moved into an unmarked address since the threat grew. Two men, armed and hooded, encountered a cartoonist and her young daughter first outside the office and at a gunpoint forced her to enter the passcode into the electronic door. Upon entering the building, they started indiscriminate gunfire in lobby and in that a person was killed. Then they held captive another employee of Charlie Hebdo and entered the office which was on the second floor. And as per the eyewitnesses, the gunmen aimed at journalist heads and killed them. Cold-blooded murder. The shooting lasted 5 to 7 minutes. 12 people were killed in the shooting. The gunmen said that they were from Al-Qaeda in Yemen. The two were later killed in an encounter trying to escape police. On 2nd September 2020, that is just a month ago, 14 people went on trial in Paris charged with providing logistical support and procuring weapons for those who carried out both the Charlie Hebdo shooting. But there was another attack, this time near old office of Charlie Hebdo. A man armed with a meat cleaver wounded 2 people in the attack on Friday. The main suspect, an 18-year-old man, was Pakistani origin and he was arrested near the scene. Police also took 6 others in custody. On October 16, 2020, once again, a French middle school teacher, Samuel Paty, was beheaded in an act of Islamist terrorism. The killer was an 18-year-old Muslim Russian-born refugee once again. Paty had, in the classroom, on freedom of expression, shown his students the Charlie Hebdo cartoons depicting Prophet Muhammad. This led to widespread outrage and anger and protest began again. French President Emmanuel Macron then visited the school where Paty had worked and said that the incident was a typical Islamist terrorist attack. He also said that our compatriot was killed for teaching children freedom of speech. But what caused the uproar was his statement saying that Islam was in crisis all over the world and announced a drive to separate religion from education and the public sector in the country. He said that the problem is an ideology which claims its own laws should be superior to those of the Republic. He said that Samuel Paty was killed because Islamists want our future and because they know that with quiet heroes like him, they will never have it. His comments, however, did not go down well with the leaders of many Muslim nations. Turkey was the first to open front against France. Turkish President Erdogan said that what is the problem of this person called Macron with Muslims and Islam? Macron needs treatment on a mental level. That is what the Turkish president said. France reacted by recalling its ambassador in Ankara, describing Erdogan's speech as unacceptable. But Erdogan, however, did not budge and went on to call for a boycott of French goods. Many Muslim-majority countries followed the suit. In Kuwait, some supermarkets removed French products from their shelves, and there were calls in Saudi Arabia and the UAE to boycott the Carrefour grocery chain. Qatar University decided to cancel a French cultural week. The Gulf Cooperation Council, a group of 6 Arab nations, called Macron's comments irresponsible. Jordan and Pakistan summoned the French ambassadors to their countries for voicing displeasure. The Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, Egypt's top cleric, also condemned France. Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan, who usually keeps quiet over Uyghur Muslims' plight, tweeted on Sunday saying that hallmark of a leader is he unites human beings as Mandela did, rather than dividing them. This is a time when President Macron could have put healing touch and denied space to extremists rather than creating further polarization and marginalization that inevitably leads to radicalization. Now, protests against France were organized in a number of other places including Syria, Libya, Gaza, Iraq and Bangladesh as well. Meanwhile, in a shockingly outrageous statement, Malaysia's former Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad said that Muslims have a right to kill millions of French for the massacres of the past. He said that Muslims have a right to be angry and to kill millions of French people for the massacres of the past. But by and large, the Muslims have not applied the eye for an eye law. Muslims don't and the French shouldn't. That is what Mahathir said. He also said in a blog post that since you have blamed all Muslims and the Muslims' religion for what was done by one angry person, the Muslims have a right to punish the French. Now, Twitter, where he posted his tweet, said that the messages violated its rules and it had removed the tweet, but the thread of 13 tweets still remains. France has called for suspension of the account of Mahathir and said that if Twitter does not do that, it would be an accomplice to the former call of murder. Now let's understand from where France is getting its support. While the Muslim nations are condemning Macron, he has found support in Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and US President Donald Trump, both of whom have time and again highlighted their resolve to fight the radicalism and shared threat of terrorism. After an attack in France's Nice in which 3 people were killed in a church, Prime Minister Modi condemned the incident. He tweeted, "India stands with France in the fight against terrorism." The External Affairs Ministry had earlier strongly deplored the personal attacks against French President Emmanuel Macron following his tough stance on radical Islam, calling it a violation of the most basic standards of international discourse. Now, France is indeed facing an unprecedented crisis. There have been 3 terrorist attacks in the past 2 months and they have left many people dead. The question is, can a cartoon, a pen, threaten a religion? Cartoons can offend, they can provoke, but violence is never an answer if you truly believe in the democratic, liberal and civilized values. Do let us know what you think in the comment box below. For more news and updates, you can log on to www.hwnews.in.
Now be the first to know about the latest updates on our new news app. Go on your Android or iOS, search for HW News Network. Download our app, choose the language you prefer to get updates in, and be up to date with the latest news.
If you like this video, please share it and we would love to hear your comments in the comments section down here. Also, please do like our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter to get minute-to-minute news updates. For more such shows and videos, subscribe to our YouTube channel.